Greetings dear audience and welcome to episode 20 of my survival Minecraft Let's Play. I am iWatch, I wonder about things, and in this episode I don't really have like a single thing that I want to work on in our Minecraft Let's Play. Instead I want to do a bunch of small little projects. So let's continue the video and can we please play the intro? Alright, the first point on the agenda is updating the map, since it's already been 5 episodes ago. And this actually brings me to an annoying problem that I am going to fix in the future. And that is these markers. You see, in order to add these markers to the world, we first have to take a banner, rename it in an anvil, and then walk up to it using the map and right click it. And that process is very annoying. So what I am going to do in between this map update and the next one is I am going to go down in the place where we went mining earlier and all the way down at the bottom of our world on the bedrock. Is it here? It might be here. So all the way down here I am going to mine out a large flat section and I am going to place down banners with the correct names in the correct locations, and then whenever I need these banners I would just come down here and right click on them down at the bottom of our world, and that way they can be permanent and they are not in the way of any of our other things. This episode might actually be a really good one for new viewers, since we are doing a lot of little projects all over our world. And that also means that we will come across all of the various builds of our world here. And that is nice. Yes, so let's place down a temporary chest here, because we have done one section of the map. And that means that there are only 14 more to go. The map has been updated and there is actually not that much that has changed, only really in this area, and the main thing is the 100 subscriber monument. This is because most of the stuff that we did in the previous couple episodes is actually underground and not visible on this map. Next up is something simple that I wanted to show you. I am here up on the hill and over there is all the stuff that we have built. And if we look over here, there is a big hole here. And I've placed down some water so it's accessible. And if we go in here, you can see that there is this huge cave here. And I came here to do some mining because I ran out of iron. And I discovered this and I thought, oh, I know so many things that I want to build here. So in the future we will definitely build some stuff here. But I also wanted to show you that it keeps continuing over here. And at the end it connects to one of the caves that we found earlier. So over here is a hole and this leads to the place where you went mining all the way in the beginning of the series. And the way I got here is through a hole in the ground somewhere that connects to the back of the sugarcane farm. And speaking of the back of the sugarcane farm, that actually brings me to the next project. Right here at the sugarcane farm, everything looks very nice and finished. However, I would like to have some way of accessing the back of the sugarcane farm, the redstone, so that if something would break at one point, I am able to easily get in there and fix the redstone if it is needed. And that brings me to I like to hide a lot of secret entrances in my base, and I feel like today we should build some secret entrances to the redstone of a lot of projects, because for the chicken farm, even for the nether portal, for the cactus farm, for the wool farm, for the skeleton farm, everything here. There is no real easy way to get to the redstone or like the behind the scenes, and I feel like we should fix that. And I am going to start, I think, with the sugarcane farm, and the idea was to use one of these buttons here as a thing to activate some sort of entrance, and then we can go in. And that is all very easy because we got quite a lot of slime balls from our mining trip in that huge cave we were at a second ago. Because in that huge cave there is a slime chunk for sure, because I killed 2 big slimes in there, meaning that we now have a good supply of slime balls, so we can make some sticky pistons and some fancy things here. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I have hooked up a secret entrance to the redstone area of the sugarcane farm. And I have indeed managed to hook it up to this button right here. Because as you can see, when we press it, there is a staircase here. And when we press it again, this staircase closes and you can't see anything anymore. Now, let's open this and let's check out the redstone of the entrance. And I think I want to first demonstrate to you the button, because there's something interesting that we did there. So, at the place of this button, we have an annoying trapdoor here. So, let's first demonstrate this. So, on the back side of this block is the button. And we then have a piston that pushes a redstone block and then powers this redstone wire. And that is interesting because we could alternatively also just run this redstone wire directly into the button. However, that is not possible because we have an annoying trapdoor there that I can show if I make it back there. Yep, here we go. So this trapdoor right here is kind of annoying because we then can't use a redstone wire. For 2 reasons. Firstly, that will cause this trapdoor to open, which is not that bad, I think, but it's just annoying. And we need to have a trapdoor there because it's visible. It's like the ceiling of this flower thing, and we need it to be a trapdoor because there is a light here, which we had to move, by the way. And that means that we now use some weird thing with a piston and a redstone block to simply push the signal through. Then the signal goes down here and it goes into this and it just goes over here, and then it powers the staircase. Every time this gets powered, it will toggle whether or not the stairs are open or closed. So now it is closed and now it is open. And this consists out of 2 parts. And that is this block, and they operate completely separate from each other. Let's first do the 2 high block. So we have 2 sticky pistons right here, an observer above a repeater, and yeah, that's it basically. So when we power that repeater, it will power this piston and the observer and everything, and that will cause this block to move 2 up or 2 down. Double piston extenders like this are always confusing to me, so I'm just going to keep it bare bones. Repeater, observer, block. And that works. And for the back one here, the single one, we have a mechanism that we have seen earlier, only not with a regular block, but with a redstone block. So we have a redstone wire running into a block with a piston below it, and then a repeater on 1 tick delay running into this thing, and that will cause it to flip on which position the block is or is not. And I think I have broken it somehow. Is that supposed to be on 4? Wait, now, oh dear. Now I have broken it somehow. Let's fix it, and I think this will fix it, yeah. Yeah, now it's fixed. Alright, let's place back this scaffolding and let's get out of here and close it. This isn't supposed to be very fancy, it's just a way for me to enter the behind the scenes, because maybe in the future I'll decide to add some stuff here, or there's an update and that breaks stuff, and then we can just have easy access to all the redstone. Right, I'm going to do something similar for a lot of our other builds, and over here it's easy because we have a lot of buttons everywhere. But maybe we want to do something original every now and then, so that not all our secret entrances are just buttons that we randomly press. I think I know something that I can do over here, but yeah, let's hook some things up here. I have added a lot more secret entrances to our base here. Let's go over them one by one. The first one is at the nether portal, because if we press this button right here, a secret door opens, and if we press it again, a secret door closes. And the mechanism for this is exactly the same as something that we have seen earlier. It's a sticky piston with a block, a repeater set to the shortest delay, and another sticky piston with a redstone block. Every time we push the button, this redstone block will swap between two different positions, turning the redstone wire on top of this on or off. And then we just lead that immediately into some pistons, turning into this right here. And this, of course, works independently of the portal being on or off. It has nothing to do with each other. Now, next up, there is also the cactus farm with exactly the same thing. There we go. And lastly, there is the chicken farm, which is a bit special because right here, the button does not do anything. Instead, you take a water bucket and you waterlog this block, and that will open this thing right here. Instead of having a button, this is just replace the button with an observer watching this block right here, and you get exactly the same redstone circuit. Right, next up I want to add a secret entrance to the redstone for the skeleton farm, but this one is going to be a little bit more difficult. Some things that I can think of are we can trap this chest right here and do something with that, but that's actually a lot better for the sheep farm. And over here I'm not entirely sure. One thing that we can do, I think, is we can, do something over here. Yeah, so we can make a secret entrance through the painting. And we can't do that on this side. No, we cannot. So I'll have to think of something. I actually really like this entrance right here, because I feel like if you want to access the redstone of the skeleton room, you want to be on the ceiling here. So actually, let's just use this. The painting has been put back in place, and now you can walk through it into this scaffolding right here that gives you access to all the stuff behind the scenes. And of course you can just go back through here as well. And also I hooked up another thing to access the redstone of the wool farm here, and it is this trapped chest right here that I also renamed appropriately. Because when we open it, a door opens in the back here. And when we open it again, the door should close, like so. This is again the exact same redstone as some of the other things, only replace the button with a trapped chest. Now, next thing on the agenda is this right here. We have this ugly hole right there, and I think we should fix that. And after that, now that we have access to the skeleton room redstone, we still have not hooked this hopper up to the chests over on this side, and we should do that. This hole has been cleaned up, and this looks a lot better than it used to be. I would have actually loved to give that armor stand a skeleton skull as a helmet, because, you know, this is the skeleton room, so we should indicate that using a skeleton skull. But we don't have that right now, and I think the easiest way to obtain one of those is to go to an ancient city and get one from there. But we can also do the whole process with charged creepers if we really want to. In the long term, I will replace that. Right, now for the redstone of the skeleton room, this is a little bit more complicated, because then we have to go in here. And here we'll have to do some fancy things. So the objective is to get items from this hopper, sort them, and distribute them to these chests on this side over here. And there is wood in the way. Yeah, so over here we should place hoppers, and we should distribute the items that we got from over here over there. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to build the first item filter in our world here. And because this is such a useful redstone contraption, I feel like I should explain how it works. And I am going to do that over here, because in there I immediately want to build a non-standard version of an item filter. And for the clarity towards people who aren't as experienced with redstone, I feel like I should explain the standard version. Right, how does an item filter work? The basic idea is that we have a hopper here, in which there will always be a set amount of items, like this. And we make sure that all of its slots are filled, like this. Or alternatively, you could also use like fillers like this, and then have like one slot with the item that you actually want to filter. But usually I will just, oops, I am messing it up. Usually I will just do it like this. And then all of the slots are filled. Because if we now put stuff in here, it cannot go into this hopper because all of the slots are already occupied with stone, so only stone will be able to go in there, as you can see. Now, how do we make sure that a set amount of items can go in here, or always stays in here? We do that using a comparator. This comparator right here measures how many items are inside of this hopper. And based on that, it will output a signal. If there are more items in this hopper, it will output a stronger signal. That means that there is some number of items for which the strength of this signal will jump from powering only this one to powering both of these redstone dusts. And then we can pull it and unpower this redstone torch. This redstone torch down here functions as a sort of stopping mechanism. So when you power a hopper, it will not do anything anymore. It won't pick up items, it won't transfer any items towards the next one. And that can help us to prevent everything from flowing through. Because once we unpower this bottom hopper, everything will simply flow through. And let's take some stone. Now, the cool thing is, because of the way we set this up, when we put more stone in this hopper, this repeater will power this last redstone dust, and that will unlock the system. So that means that from the moment there is more than a certain amount of stone in this hopper, everything is allowed to flow through. But when it flows through, this will empty again, and then it will unpower this, stopping it again. So that makes sure that there will always be this amount of stone in this hopper. And that means that we can now filter out stone. I think that concludes our explanation for this. Now let's implement it over there for the bones and for the arrows. The setup in the actual skeleton farm is a little bit different, but the idea is still the same. Instead of 2 redstone dust, we use 5, and then from this 5th one we go torch and then into a hopper below. All of this is a little bit complicated maybe, but we do that because using this we can save 1 or 2 hoppers in our system thing right there. Now we just have to make sure that we get the items from this hopper all the way over here into that hopper right there, and then the bones and the arrows will get sorted out and all of the remaining stuff will go into the 3rd row. I have fixed the redstone of the skeleton farm. Now it works completely as intended. So when we have skeletons over here and we kill them, and for example they drop arrows like this, the system will pick it up automatically and they will end up over here, as you can see. And same with the bones, they will get sorted as well. They will go into this chest. There we go. And all 16 arrows ended up in there. And if there is anything else, for example the bows or whatever, then that will end up in the last chest, as you can see. However, these last chests are actually quite full, and for that reason I created an overflow system. So if the chests are full, or if it can't fit in the last column of chests, it will go into this dropper, and this dropper will then spew it onto a cactus, destroying the item. That way we will never have a thing where it overflows. Maybe in the long term we will change the system behind that, because I would like to be able to, how do you word that? Sort of cycle between the different things that are in this chest. For example, I would like to be able to clear it in some way. I'm not entirely sure, but that's definitely not for now. That's for something way later. And for now, the skeleton farm is finished. Next little thing that I want to fix is that right there. So the idea was to put a zombie villager in that spot right there, and I figured out a very easy way to actually do that, because if we go in here we can simply use our existing railing here to first make the villager go into here and then zombificate it, and then make it come back and simply go onto here. And then we'll figure something out. I'm not sure how the rest of that is going to go, but I already prepared a villager in our villager breeder on this side. So let's send this guy off and let's see how that works. Alright, is it on keep mode? It is, so if we send him off, he should end up in the spot we were at a moment ago. Let's take the right route here. He is at the zombie, that is good. Okay, and he is going back. Now we break this, and that is annoying. Right, we replace this. How do we make sure he does not escape? Like that. First we break the rail, then the minecart, and then we place back this, and we fix the rail, and everything is done. So now if we go outside, there should be a zombie villager in the window, and I don't see it. Yeah, it's there, amazing. We should still give it a name though. For the last part of this video, I want to focus on adding something to my builds that really makes my world come alive. And it is something that is very often overlooked actually. And that is little Noteblock jingles. Right now we are in the villager breeder and we already have this thing. which is already very good, but I actually want to improve it even by changing the instrument of the Noteblocks, and I want to use gold blocks for this and bone blocks for this. And the tiny little difference that this might be, it makes such a big difference in how good this build is. Like that, it really makes this build so much better. Yeah. And I am going to add some Noteblocks to a lot of my other builds as well. But first I want to note something. Remember when I said that I was constantly flipping between my villager breeder is working and it is not working? Well, I can confirm that the villager breeder is working as intended. The only thing with it is that the villagers that actually make new villagers are all the way at the top of the villager breeder, or at the top of the windmill, so over there. And you have to be within a certain distance of them for them to be able to make more villagers. So in reality, the villager breeder only really works when we are in the close proximity of the windmill here. And because I have been working a lot underground there, it then appears as if my villager breeder is broken, even though it is not. Right, now let's go to our base here and let's add some Noteblocks to various builds. In my opinion, anything that can be switched on or off should have a little Noteblock jingle to accompany that switch. Even something as simple as our nether portal here. So every time we switch it off, I want a little jingle, and every time we switch it on, I want a little jingle. So let's enter here and let's see if we can make that happen. So right now our nether portal is on. This is the flint and steel. So if we just pull from here, and we are going to use gold blocks for the on jingle and bone blocks for the off jingle. So if we just do something like this, that should work. Like that, and then the repeater, and we should do like that. So every time you switch it on, I think this should work. Yeah, but that is out of tune, I think. And then over here we can do the same, but using a redstone torch, like this. So if we then do that and that, then this will sound when we turn it off. I did not hear it. So what is the problem? The problem is that the redstone is pointing into the wall. Let's do it again. And let's switch twice. That's weird because that triggered as well. Wait, what? What happened here? I'm a bit confused. Yeah, that's right. That's also right. That's right. Okay, so now we just have to tune it and put a bone block underneath this, and then the Noteblock jingles for the nether portal are already done. That's how simple it can be. It's so nice that we added these entrances to the redstone now that we actually want to work on it. For the sheep farm, the situation is a little different, because all of these little things can be controlled individually. And because of that, I think I don't want to add Noteblocks to everyone separately. Maybe we can add something for the main button here, but even that I don't feel like that would add too much. In fact, we already have like a single no block here, so I'm satisfied with that. So based on all those things, I am going to decide to not include any more no blocks for the wool farm. Ladies and gentlemen, sadly, with all of those no blocks installed on the various builds in our base, we have reached the end of the episode. And the end of the episode also brings with it the fact of the episode. And the fact of this episode is that the inventor of the spam email regrets his invention. I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it. I hope I can see you in the next episode. And, as always, keep wondering.